I'm really excited because this fall I'm heading down to take my very first cruise ever, and it's going to be on the Disney Dream. So I'm really excited, going down with some friends and their kids, and we're going on a 3-night Bahamas cruise. One of the things that happens on the Disney cruise is there's unlimited soft drinks on the pool deck. And from what I understand, they give you a little maybe 8-ounce, 10-ounce maybe cups. And one of the suggestions for most people is to take your own refillable bottles or refillable mugs. So I thought it would be fun for our group that's going down to actually make some bottles that are Disney cruise themed and personalized. So I don't know what the crap I'm doing. I'm just kind of winging this. I went online to see what kind of things you could do to personalize mugs. I found a lot of decals that you can put on them, but nothing that I feel. I would like to make these so they're a little more durable and dishwasher safe. So I'm kind of coming up with my own routine here. You get to see my mistakes if and when I make them. So we'll start by looking at what I'm going to be using. I bought some 30-ounce water bottles on Amazon, and also for the little kids I bought the smaller size of the same bottle, just because I don't think they're going to drink 30 ounces at a sitting. I'm also going to be using some fine grit sandpaper. Hope that works out. I got some foam brushes, some water, some Mod Podge. Now this is just what I've decided to use. I used Mod Podge on our last Disney World trip to make some coasters for my family, and it was, they were okay, but this one I found was actually dishwasher safe. I tried to buy this on Amazon, but I think I ended up finding it on eBay. Handy dandy ruler, then some alcohol swabs, because every time I watch a video of somebody putting decals on a bottle, they say to alcohol swab it. I'm sure just to clean any grease or things off. And then I have become an Etsy person. I always thought that was for the artsy crafty kind of people, which I guess is what I'm doing. But I went and I found some Disney Cruise Line logo decals. I also found some 2019 Dream decals that I can use on the bottles. And then I also found a place that would make these decals of our names. So they took them about a week and a half to 2 weeks for each one to get to me, and they weren't expensive. Probably about $7 to $8 per package. Actually, I think this was $8 for these two and $6 for this. So maybe I'm lying a little bit, but anyway, that's what I'm going to use. Have a towel for whatever mess I make. So I do have an extra bottle because I've never done this before. And I'm going to use that as my test run before I actually start making the bottles we're going to take. So you're going to not walk me through this, but you're going to be with me on this, and hopefully when this is done, it'll be a really cool bottle that people want to drink out of on the cruise. So here we go. So the first thing I did was started with the sandpaper, and I'm just going to call this my caveman bottle because that was a really bad idea. Trying to give it something for the decals to adhere to, but as you see, it turned out to be a cloudy mess. So I abandoned it and started clean. The first thing you'll want to do with your bottles is actually clean them with an alcohol wipe so that there's no grease on the bottles. And then I go ahead and I take a ruler and I marked the spots where I wanted the decals to be located, because I wanted them to be consistent from bottle to bottle. So once that was in place, I went ahead and started placing my decals, starting with the Disney Cruise Line logo, which I wanted up top, and I just centered it over the red dot from my Sharpie. And then I put the name of the cruise ship, which is the Dream, and our year, and I placed that centered on the dot that was placed. And then you can go ahead and apply pressure. This one came with a plastic card, but you can also use a credit card or a gift card that you've got laying around. And then you want to apply enough pressure, as you'll see here in a second. If you don't, then it's going to peel up off of the bottle, and so you have to continue to apply pressure. But I ended up getting that fixed, even though you didn't see that there. But I did fix it. and then pulled up off the Dream, and that came off beautifully. So here you see that I'm going to apply the Mod Podge, but I had taken scissors and cut a fine tip because on my Caveman bottle I used the full width of the brush and it was just too much. And so I was trying to be very careful about where I applied the Mod Podge so that I could follow the contours of the decals and really try not to go too far over the outer edges. I wanted to, just because the whole purpose of me putting the Mod Podge on is I wanted to make these dishwasher safe, top rack at least. And if I hadn't done this, you would have to hand wash the bottles every time you were going to use them. And I wanted to provide some sort of protection over the decal. And so as you can see here, I'm just following the contours and giving a good, generous coat over them and trying not as hard as I could to be too terribly messy. I did feel like I'd gone over too far on the edges of the decals, so I took a wet wipe and wiped around where I felt like it was too far away and tried to follow again the contours of the outer edge of the Cruise Line logo. And it cleans up really nicely if it hasn't cured because Mod Podge is water soluble. And then I did the same thing down here on the Dream logo, just trying to get it into these. This was a little harder because you had a lot of nooks and crannies and edges on these letters and numbers. And from my previous experiment, I realized that going over it with a brush and water was not getting rid of the brush marks. So I just used my fingertip to do it, and it seemed to smooth it out a little bit better. And there was the finished product. Here you see the Caveman version up against the clean version that I just did, and you see it's a night and day difference. And then I followed the exact same process on adhering the names to the backs of the bottles. I wanted to put our names on them because I didn't want us to forget whose was whose and get them mixed up. And so the name was a little bit larger, so it was easier to apply the Mod Podge. And I did the same thing as far as cleanup around the names to try to make it as clean as possible. Here's the final result of the fronts of all the bottles. As you can see, they're all lined up the same because I measured them. And then here are all our names on the backs of the bottles. So it's been 24 hours since I made the mugs, and as you can see, they're all done. I'll raise them up a little bit so you can see. They turned out great. I don't know if you can make that all out, but this is not wanting to focus. Come on, focus. Anyway, the Mod Podge, the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, did cure almost crystal clear. If I had to do it again, I'd probably use a bristle brush, a finer tip bristle brush, just so that I could go around the details and not so much in a blob. And maybe the texture would be a little bit different because you can kind of see the texture marks of the foam brush. But even the small ones turned out really cute, I guess is what I'd say. And we've got the names on the backs of all of them. So as you can see, there's my name. But they turned out great. I'm really excited to surprise my friends with this. We're about ready. I think we actually can check into our cruise and start reserving things in about a month. So that's when I'm going to take these over and show them to them. Hopefully they'll like them. I expect that after the cruise we'll be done with them. But they were really fun. I'd really highly recommend it to anyone that's going to go to Disney or to Disney World. Just go buy these decals, find what you want on Etsy, or create your own if you've got a die cutting machine, and go to town. It was really fun. So anyway, excited for the cruise, and then I'll give you updates as we go along. Thanks for watching.